Hello and welcome to Music with Mason. My name is Mason Fall. I'm here joined with the death metal band from Kansas City, Missouri. We've got Sarin Reaper. How are you guys doing today?
We're chilling. All right. Alive.
All right, so Sarin Reaper, you guys are pretty well known for your album Noxious Black Vomit, and you guys also recently played at Farewell in Kansas City and The Swamp in Lincoln, Nebraska, where you played along with bands such as Caveman Beatdown, Midwestern Blizzard Beast, and Storm Ruler.
Unfortunately, that had the two shows were called like Blizzard. They called it like Blizzard of the Midwest or something like that. Blizzard Beast of the Midwest. We actually got snowed out the second date. We did play the Kansas City gig with Storm Ruler, but we actually did not even make it to the Swamp because I believe Storm Ruler's van, the negative temperatures here in Kansas City completely killed their van.
Yeah, they had a drop.
So yeah, they couldn't even.
But they ruled. They did.
Yeah,
rule.
so did all the bands.
That show was mighty excited.
All right. My bad, guys. I was a little misinformed there.
Oh, you're good.
No, you're fine. We just unfortunately weren't able to make it out to Lincoln.
Soon, though, we will. Hopefully so.
All right. So we're going to go back in time here, guys. When did Sarin Reaper start, and how exactly did it form?
Well, just on my end of things, I was like super depressed at the time. It just like right before, in the middle of COVID happening, I was just on the couch, just binge watching whatever series came to mind. And then I hit up my buddy Solomon, and then it was just like, all right, time to make some crusty death metal. And so one thing led to another, and then we met James, and James knew a previous drummer that we had, and then before we knew it, we just threw our demo together eventually, but it was a while before things came around. There was a lot of glitches and kinks along the way, but as things are now, I couldn't be happier with how they stand.
Yeah, it all came together around like November, like late 2020.
November 2020.
Yeah,
around
November
that
2020
time.
was when we like got it all, got like the original lineup together. But then like the current lineup, like how it is, where we're actually writing. That was what pretty good stuff. Yeah, August 2022. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
All right.
From there, it's been a.
Cool. All right. So for each of you, how exactly did you get into music, and how did you know this is what you wanted to do?
We went in order.
All right, I'm starting here. Wow, I'm putting on the spot.
Your name.
You get to do it.
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't really know anything about music, and I got really into just whatever my parents were playing at the time. I think the first thing for me that really sparked my musical interest is not related to metal or punk at all. But I'm gonna vouch for Gorillaz till the day I die.
Oh, yeah.
Gorillaz was my introduction into music because I was already into animation when I was a kid. So getting into that was really cool. And getting into the alternative side of things, of course, I found grunge and I found alternative rock and punk and stuff like that. And I never had too deep of a dive into like metal too much. I mean, I got into sludge and thrash for a bit, but I personally found a lot of punk bands cool, and then I found a lot of stuff from this area that was really cool, or stuff from Missouri, like specifically Q and Lumpy and the Dumpers were two like kickstarters for me. But for what really sparked me is my interest into punk and playing music. Three bands I would list would be Buzzcocks, Nirvana, and Black Flag. Definitely.
Right on.
And I have to cut myself off there because we all have to talk.
Yeah. Sure. All right. So for me, it was funny because like I grew up like down south, and then I moved a bunch, And, like, my parents are immigrants, so all I ever grew up knowing was, like, Dire Straits, Santana, and, like, salsa. And,
hey, but those bands, all that stuff.
But, like, my dad would listen to, like, stuff, like, rarely.
Yeah.
But I love that shit. But, like, I didn't get into playing an actual instrument until, like, 4 years ago. And then I picked up the bass and taught myself that. But then, like, for me, the band, like, I've gotten into over time. Because, like, at first I like rock music and shit. And then it was, like, my friend got me into, like, very beginner metal, like Marilyn Manson, fucking Slipknot, that kind of stuff. Not my proudest moment. But over the years, I've, like, become fully into, like, the metal punk stuff. Like, black metal was my first love. And then from there, I got into, like, war metal and bestial death and grind. But, yeah, so stuff like that for me, like, my definitely top 3 bands that have inspired my playing has been Abysmal Lord, Revenge, and Carpathian Forest for sure.
Right on.
With me, I'm a little bit older than everybody else, but I started playing music when I was really young. My grandpa is a professional trumpet player, so I've been playing like I played brass instruments from a pretty young age. And I grew up like, suburban Missouri kid. So all I really heard, for the most part, growing up was like top 40 country hits of late 90s, early 2000s, that sort of stuff. But I started listening to like rock music. So when I was like around 10, 11 years old was when like System of a Down was really, really popping off. So like 2005 when they released the 2 albums that went platinum or whatever. So that's when I was like first getting into like heavy music. But from there, I found punk music because I started liking Blink and stuff like Sum 41, just like pop punk stuff, and that led to the Descendants, which led to like hardcore stuff like Jerry Kidd. But then I dated a girl. She liked thrash metal.
You got a romance in it.
she liked thrash metal, and so she showed me Slayer, Sodom, Sepultura, stuff like that. So that's where I kind of went into for a very long time with like thrash metal, death thrash, stuff like that. And then I for a couple of years I did like I wrote a zine called Viral Disease, and I organized a thing on Instagram called the Mega Metal Mixtape Exchange, and we've made mixtapes of all kinds of heavy metal, exchange them through the mail, and then, I wrote my zine and talked about albums I liked and stuff like that. And I guess we're all naming 3 bands. It's really hard to pick really quick off the top of my head. Okay. Well, I will say like I'm so bad at that. Wow. Okay. Dead air is better. Rush definitely influenced me a lot. 70s prog influenced me a lot. I guess I mentioned thrash. I might as well go with Sodom. They were like my first Kickstart band into thrash. And then I guess I have to mention, if I'm mentioning that, I'm gonna mention Coroner, the Swiss band. Coroner. Yeah. Wow. So and because Doom is so a little bit more thrash, a little bit more prog. All right. Now Luke.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, I guess
where'd you start?
Well, Golly gee, what I love to tell you. Take me back to now we go back to the cult then. Well, to start with the musical journey, I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to. I was just cut off from like 2000 and 2010 pop culture for the most part, and so it wasn't really until like my senior year. No, Gangnam Style. But like senior year at high school or so is like when I finally got into like stoner metal and stuff like that. I'd say an OG band for me was something like Caius, the album Welcome to Sky Valley with the opening track of Gardenia. That's like best opening track on the books. Like you feel desert wind in your hair. So it's stuff like that. It really started with, just smoking a bunch of herbage and stuff like that. Just herbage. I was a doom metal elitist for the longest time after that, and like I wouldn't get anywhere near like fast stuff. I just always wanted to have it slow and heavy. And then once I listened to, my buddy was like, "Yo, I want you to curate my black metal playlist." And I was just, "All right, great." And I was just like, I was just being a basic bro, just working out in Planet Fitness at the time. But it's just like that plus mixed with black metal, and then A Fine Day to Die came on by Bathory, and it was just this is what black metal is. Okay, I get it. And so from there, it was just all down the tubes from there. But I would say
we like the stompy stuff.
Yeah, but
that's what makes you want to groove.
And from there, though, but like once I found out what war metal was, if I may split a hair though, like that Black and Death shit, then it was just like, oh, this is like the punk rock of extreme metal, because it just throws together grindcore, sludge, Black Death, all into this even juicy blender of sound. And so, but then I found that stuff, but I didn't really have the punk stuff in me as much. But then I was working a factory job in the middle of the pandemic, and they were like trying to hide COVID cases and stuff like that. It was like, cool, I get below here. And I was like, I haven't checked out Stooges yet. And so I found Stooges, and then MC5. R.I.P. Wayne. Oh, lost the great Wayne. But yeah, so it was just OG stuff like that got me into punk, and then it was all downhill into hardcore from there. Stuff like anything in the UK 82 scene, that OG anarcho punk scene, was just bueno. But then once being into war metal, and then finding out what like Swedish Kong punk is, like Anti-Cimex and stuff like that, then it was just like, I've been to a lot of black metal and hardcore shows like that at that point, and I love both the sounds. But the issue is that black metal show, just guys just standing there with their arms crossed, just being super stoked. I'm just like, this is like songs about summoning Satan and then going on a rampage, wiping out half the planet.
Dance a little bit.
You're just standing there. And I go to hardcore shows, and I love the energy, but the music just doesn't have the beef that I'm looking for. Now, it doesn't have beef. It's just me. I'm not trying to hate or anything. But it's just like, why has there always been this rivalry between punk and metal? Because at this point, we're all going for the exact same thing. There was, back in the day when everything started, it was much more, the scenes were going for, the ideals are much different. But at this point, it's just everyone, you crawl before you can walk. And when you crawl, you're like starting in the septic tank, basically. And so it's like, why aren't we working together here? And where we're based out of in Kansas City, the hardcore punk scene is much more established than the metal scene. I would say the metal scene tends to go in and out of productivity, but things are happening out after the pandemic, and so
yeah,
we all had to do it. Yeah. Think of your band.
All right, yeah, right on.
All right, but yeah, 3 bands wise, one that I take like the most inspiration from as frontman.
God. Top of your head right now.
Do it. It's probably got to be the young in the way, probably. Despite what's going on, just like the way that they blended just crust punk and black metal. Oh my goodness. But yeah, 2 more for that one. And then just despite how awful the fan base is, just the way that Tool always sounded, and like the presence that Mayor J. Keenan had, it's just like, it's just like has a sort of just beef that I want to go for. And then, and then Diocletian as a war metal band they just had this sort of aggression and this almost just punk sensibility to them, where they would just crank their stuff up to 11 and just not quit. But anyway, done with my diva rambling.
All right. So I have a few interesting questions. I don't know if you guys are like familiar with this or if they're like factual or not. Does the name Ludibrious Toadstool mean anything to you?
That's my partner. That's my partner, Ash. Shout out Ash.
Is she also your photographer?
They did some pictures on our LP, and they've done some pictures for us. They, whenever they're keen to it.
Them and their brother
AJ have done a lot of pictures for us. But
they were pretty cool.
We accept pictures from whoever.
All right. So, does the name Foil mean anything to you?
That's the other thing. Yeah, so
a lot of the bands here in Kansas City kind of are.
They're incestuous.
Yeah, they're just kind of meshed within one another. So Foil is kind of a sister band of Sarin Reaper because it's got, James, who plays guitar for us, is the vocalist of Foil, and then I am the drummer of Sarin Reaper, and then I also play bass for Foil. And Foil is much more of a hardcore punk.
Yeah, Foil was a solo project that I started back in 2020, which is fucking disgusting to think that in April we'll be 4 years old. Yeah. How does that make you feel? It's almost half a decade old. But now we've shuffled through and stuff, and I think we have a really solid lineup now, and it's our little punk band, and we got an LP dropping sometime. You'll find it.
And we always practice together too, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah, like right now you've caught us at the end of the night. So every
Saturday
we get together, and whichever 4 members of whatever band shows up,
it's a contest.
They practice first. So if all 4 members of Sarin Reaper get here, then they practice first. But if all 4 members of Foil get here, then they practice. And
all right.
Sometimes we have to.
Okay. So, something that I found a little interesting, the root beer kegger for reproductive justice. What is that?
Oh yeah, that was a show that we played. That was a
Doldrums
carried. Yeah, Doldrums carry dairy and remain today, and that was a fundraiser for the. I don't remember exactly. Was it? Well, was it? It might have been Midwest Coalition. Something like that. It was one of those. It was a fund that helped people. You should fact check me on this.
Yeah, we're gonna
figure it out.
That was a while
ago. It was a fundraiser show for a.
And it was definitely a blended show because Carrie Dairy is a local musician.
Shout out Carrie.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was Missouri Abortion Fund.
Yeah, the Missouri Abortion.
Yeah, the Missouri Abortion Fund.
As far as I remember, I don't even know if there was a keg of root beer there.
No, yeah,
we did raise over $1,000.
Yeah, a grand raise, which is pretty fantastic.
But yeah, it was definitely a mixed bill. There was like we were just shouting out Carrie Dairy, just like a
and Doldrums too.
Doldrums, which is like a hardcore band from around here, and then
both of them are some of my favorites now here. Remain Today was the other one. They're all so great.
Like I say, if I may emphasize, if you're looking for hardcore, then Kansas City is
Kansas
place
City
to check out. Not as much metal. There's some metal stuff for it, but hardcore-wise,
so many good bands out here. I just did tapes for Scuff release also, and they're also a really good band out here.
All right. So, something that I saw about one of you guys, I don't know if this is true. The wording on this was kind of bad, but for Luke, did a fan attack you during a show?
It could have been at one point. I mean, it can be construed one way or the other, honestly. Like I said before, went to black metal shows. No one's really moving around. Go to hardcore shows, kids are bouncing off the walls, and so more so take from that. And there's been a couple shows, like I have buddies of mine show up, and so they know it's definitely like, hey, come here, grab by the throat.
A lot of the times the stuff that people might see and be like, oh my God, the vocalist was attacked. It's probably just the drummer of Foil who really loves to fight Luke during our shows.
I almost stopped. What's going on?
There have been a few times that we have almost stopped because they have really started to get into it. But it's more of just
for fun, being
It's
silly.
just something to do that really starts to amp people up. I don't think people expect it, and so a lot of the times it's just it's either buddies of ours or it's just people in the audience that Luke. I understand where Luke's coming from. It's just Luke can feel them out. If he knows that they're into it, then yeah, he'll fucking grab onto them, grab them by the fucking head and shake them around or something like that for a little bit. It just kind of gets everybody in the feel of it.
Did he get him in the mood?
Yeah, we're all nice boys here, teddy bears underneath, despite all the image and whatnot. But
I do not think that we've had an instance where someone actually attacked Luke.
Okay.
No one's actually go get him.
Well, that's good.
Or you didn't attack anybody either.
Maybe
It's all been just fun.
All right.
it's all just they beat the crap out of each other.
So, for Solomon, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I'm just gonna spell this out for you. Do you know what STRZYYGA means?
Oh yes, that's my other band, my black metal band, Striga.
Striga.
And what that is, Striga. So you know how in the West you have the vampire, which is like super frilly coat, like polished black. Nah, Striga or Strix are the like primordial version of vampires. They're like creatures from the night and the woods that feast on nightmares and human blood. And I just love that feral cryptid stuff. So that band is like black metal crust, but our thematics and our imagery is definitely more like creatures from like a dark cave, average black metal edgy stuff, but it's fun that way.
Right. All right. For James, who is Henry?
Oh, Henry.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that guy. I went to go grab a beer and I was thinking about him. Henry is my little boy, my little shining star. He's my cat. Coming up on I believe 3 years of owning this guy. He is the every band that stays at my house when they're coming through Kansas City, which also, if you're a band coming through Kansas City, hit me or Lance up and we can help you out most of the time. But you'll get to meet my cat, and he's the friendliest little guy. He is so sweet. I've never had a cat before, and this guy greets me at the door like a dog, and and he's like waiting for me and meowing at me, and I gotta like, if I don't pick him up, he'll like trip me over, and he's like, you need to hang out with me right now. He's my friendly little orange guy. You can find tons of pictures of him on my Instagram.
We're a cat band.
He's my model. All of us have cats, but Henry's my little baby. He's my shining star.
Well, while we're at it, let's shout out to all our cats here. Solomon,
shout out Tater and Parsnip, brother and sister. They're the most loving things in my life.
I have 4 cats.
What the fuck?
I have Morticia and Vitalia and Ophelia and Wolfgang.
Shut up, her name's Vita.
Definitely big cat gang.
Yeah.
I have the one.
Dogs are great too, though. Cats are also.
Sorry.
I got the one sole overlord of my domain. His lordship with pizza titties. Long may he reign.
He's a chunky man.
Bit of a unit, but anything happens to that boy, if it's at the hand, if I'm done by one, wishes him harm, good God, mercy upon their soul.
I think that's how all of us are.
Oh my God, there's coming out with my
Luke would have to do anything. People would just murder
As I
him.
said, Henry is my shining star. He's my wonderful man.
Right
We
on.
could go on for hours.
Just talking about cats the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Bob, I just want to point out, I really think the art that you make is really cool.
Thank you.
How did you get into your artistic style?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned my art, because honestly, like I haven't done a whole lot with it in a while because I've been working so hard with Sarin Reaper and Foil. But the style you're mentioning, probably the stippling, came from, I don't really know where it came from. That one guy the guy that did the thing. But no, all through high school, I did big portraits for a long time, where I was just getting these huge sheets of paper, and I was just picking 2 or 3 colors and just swiping at the canvas of the paper or whatever, and just making these big portraits. And then, because for a while it was like my entire artistic vision was, it was just fast. It was in the moment, and that's all I needed. I didn't need the time. And then just over time, I kind of just started slowing down, and it was more just like a meditative sort of thing. And I think that's where the stippling and the hatching and the cross hatching came from. And it just kind of, I just let it sort of flow. I just start, I pick up a pen and I start making dots, or I start making lines, and it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And it's never anything that I'm like, oh, I'm going to draw this crazy thing here and these crazy, whatever. It just sort of rolls out.
It comes
but then occasionally I'll go back and I'll do portraits, or I'll do little doodles and stuff like that. Like with my zine that I had, that I mentioned earlier, I would draw stuff. I've done art for other bands like Dryad. Shout out to Dryad in Iowa.
Dryad. Great gig, by the way.
And but it's sort of a thing that over time I've just kind of fleshed it out. I don't do it as much anymore, just because my time is mostly occupied by work, and then the music and writing music, and we've got stuff that we're planning in the future, shows and stuff like that. But yeah, art's important to me, and I like where I'm at in it, and I'm sure I'll pick up the pen every now and again, but right now it's not my main focus.
Right.
But
yeah. Something else that I've noticed about you, Bob, is your infatuation with whiskey. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
What up, man? You could.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The roommate just got here, Lance. Shout out Lance here.
Yeah, Mr. Lance.
We're doing the interview now. Lance just walked in the door.
Lance recorded our demo, and Lance records a shit ton of good bands on.
And Lance recorded Noxious Black Vomit.
Lance plays in Total Sham and Classic and a bunch of other good bands that you need to get familiar with.
But anyway, yes, I do like whiskey quite a lot.
Bro got me into whiskey.
I kind of started a couple of years ago where I just it obviously kind of started as a joke because I liked Motorhead, and I was like, all my buddies at the time were drinking beer, and I was like, I don't like drinking beer. I like to drink whiskey. I'll drink Jack Daniels. But so for a while, that's all I drank, Jack Daniels, and then I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember seeing there are other Jack Daniels. It's not just
John.
There's not
there's Philip.
There's not just the old number 7. They're different. They have other offerings, and so they have these different offerings like rye and single barrel select stuff. More fancier things, and so I started buying. My wife started buying me bottles and stuff like that, and the collection just sort of started. Not long after I started collecting was when the Kansas City Whiskey Expo started. So every year, a bunch of whiskey vendors come to Harrah's Casino, and they set up in one of the big rooms, and it's like literally 2 hours, like 40 whiskey vendors, and it's just free reign. You just walk around with a glass, you get as many pours of whiskey as you want, and you just get to try stuff out. And but yeah, I've done a couple of distillery tours. I've gone to Stranahan's in Colorado. The distilleries I've been to are both in Colorado. I've been to 291 Distillery and Stranahan's, both great distilleries. I guess I've also been to Laws, which is also in Colorado. But yeah, whiskey is definitely a big part of my life.
All right.
Everybody knows that.
Alcohol, man.
Party time. But yeah.
Oh, Ham's blast. Shout out Ham.
Shout out
beer.
Ham's beer. Ham's beer. The best beer.
We're all sipping on it right now.
All right. So, what is Farewell Coffee and Booze?
Failed it, Jake. So Farewell is a place that's been around for a while. I mean, it's been around longer, but I remember going to this place back when I was like 16 or whatever. And used to be a bit more DIY. It's still super DIY. It's a kind of a bar where you can just come hang out, catch some rad bands. Next door they have Howdy, which is another spot that they do a lot of cool shows at. Kind of what's been going on in Kansas City for the last year,
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean they've been going for a long time, but they've become super
Definitely the last 2 years.
like spearheading the.
Yeah, they're open during the day and they'll serve beer, but then also the coffee and booze. So they serve booze and then they'll also whip you up a latte or whatever.
Great place.
And then at night they
very opportune
throw shows, and then next door there's Farewell, that's the all ages venue, and then there's Howdy that's 2 doors down, and that's the all ages venue, and it's just kind of the main hangout for the most part when it comes to underground music in Kansas City right now.
Right on. So, do you guys, each of you personally, have a favorite venue or place to play at?
I mean, we do definitely play at Farewell and Howdy a lot. That's the place to play around here, But
if I may say, the one spot that we played at most recently that I enjoyed the most was when we had a little one-off gig down in San Antonio, Texas, and we played with Sarin, and it was at this place called Norwood Warehouse, which unfortunately recently just had to close their doors, and but
R.I.P.
Good.
Great little warehouse.
Oh my Lord! That was you stuff 200 crusties into one little spot, and you have the most organic, just metal punk insanity going on. It was by far the greatest gig I've ever played. But locally, though, I would say definitely Farewell is the place to play.
I think another fun one was the first foil show we played at this mausoleum in a graveyard.
Oh yeah.
And we started a little bit too late, so the cops got called. Apparently it took 6 noise complaints for KCPD to care. And they ended up pulling up, and the second they pulled up, we were 4 songs into our set. And my friend Jonathan came up and be like, "Cops, go." Less than a minute and a half later, everybody in that area was out of there, and it was rowdy and silly, but that was one of my favorite.
I would like to say that other than Farewell and Howdy here, I do enjoy having shows at Penn Valley Skate Park.
Penn Valley.
It's a skate park right in the middle of town, and
that's when we throw
fireworks
at each other.
Yeah, you basically you'll be on the. It's 31st Street when you get off Santa Fe. You get on 31st Street, and then you get off on 31st Street, and you go down. You go behind this parking garage, and then it opens up into this park that's just a skate park. And if you go down this little hill, there's this little cement wall with a garage door down there, with a cement floor, and it's just a perfect little setup. You can probably find pictures somewhere on Instagram or online.
There's a great
one of our bands, either foil or Total Sham or Scuffed or somebody like that.
The spot
playing down there.
After a lot of
But it keeps the sound away from Kansas City, from the actual.
We've never
downtown.
had the cops pull up.
We've never had the cops pull up there, and I mean we have full blown shows with generators. Definitely the best show I've ever been to there was a local band called Total Sham. Lance, who just walked in a second ago, his band Total Sham. I mean, just going bananas, popping glass bottles on the cement, rolling around in glass, shooting fireworks at people, just absolutely rowdy stuff. And then just the end of the night, everybody packs up, we sweep it up, and then we're just gone. We never have a problem. And it's just, Penn Valley is always a fun place.
Just clean up and get out of there.
Good and organic.
Yeah, right on. So, A bit of a generic question I ask for most of my bands that I have on the show is, if each of you could have one final meal before you pass away, what would it be?
Oh God,
I think Solomon would be a good person to fuck go down about that.
Anticos de corazón, Peruvian cow heart skewers. It is the greatest food in the world. Think of steak, but a billion times better.
Talked about
That is all I want.
cow heart.
I'm Spanish, dude.
It's like
my parents are from the homeland of South America. That is what I need in my life.
Fucking warm metal blood sausage.
Yeah, dude. Oh, blood sausage, morcilla. So hard.
Oh, man. Shit.
Any idea? I don't even know. I'm a super.
Dude, I'm gonna die. It doesn't matter.
Oh shit. I'm super indecisive when it comes to food. So.
I think I know.
I'll take a fucking hot dog and some SpaghettiOs. I'm gonna fuck. It doesn't matter.
Nah. Okay. I think
die.
so. It's a thing called a Loco Moco. It's like a Hawaiian bastardization of a burger, but if you're like crossfaded on some stuff, it is like the best thing to have. Better rice, mashed burger with a bunch of onions mixed into it, and then a bunch of gravy of your choice on top of that, and
fried
then
egg.
a good fried egg on top of that, and it's like delicious. The best savory thing you will ever have.
I mean, off the top of my head, it's like I would either want to do like birria tacos, something like that, or Vietnamese pho, a big bowl of pho. Yeah. Oh God!
An even better last meal food would be some celebrity, just their head on a stick. You know, like blood of the innocent. One of the big name people that run.
I was gonna say I was gonna have a quesadilla and a 30-pack of hams, but I think that's a better answer.
All right.
I hate and politicians. Non-flesh. I will eat them.
Oh man!
How do you move on from that? You don't.
Wow.
Now.
I will definitely say Vietnamese pho is definitely underrated and deserves a lot more attention. It's delicious.
Hey, I mean, I say it needs a little bit less attention because my local pho place has been raising the price.
I'm gonna start gatekeeping this pho place. This is ridiculous.
Pho elitist.
But yeah, heads on sticks. I mean, you're gonna pass away anyway. But anyways.
Yeah, I won't remember it. Fat and happy. I'll eat whatever. As long as I get food. Fine.
As long as I got at least a bar.
If I fucked up bad enough that I was gonna die, like, I'll take whatever you put in front of me.
I mean, Little Caesars.
I take a hot and ready Little Caesars pepperoni pizza.
You strap
with
to the
some crazy bread.
and just have strap to the electric chair, and then just have the warden just hand feed you.
The warden chair.
That's
You cool with the warden, bro?
The warden has to be my thing at the very end.
That's it.
Anyway.
All right. So, unfortunately, we are down to our final 2 questions of our interview. So, the first one being, what is the future of Sarin Reaper? Are we going to be seeing more concert dates? Are we going to be seeing an album release, a single release, more merchandise? What are we seeing?
Okay, so I mean, yeah, basically all that. Right now we are working on. We haven't made like any sort of Instagram or online or sort of public post about this. So I guess this will be the first, if anybody wants to know. Currently, we're in the middle of. I mean, we've got all the music written, but we're going to be recording a split LP with Sarcatha, which is a band from Lawrence, kind of another sister, brother, whatever band of all of our bands. So we've got, Sarin Reaper, that's us. We have Foil, that's got me and Jam in it. Well, the drummer of Foil is the drummer of Sarcatha. So all these bands are connected. So we're going to be recording that soon, and then we're planning on doing a tour in late April out to the Southwest. We have a hookup in Hollywood, California that got us a spot in what is it called? Knucklehead. Yeah. Knucklehead
called Goobers.
Knuckleheads.
Right across from
It's on Santa Monica Boulevard. And then that's like our anchor point for our tour. So we'll be hitting places in like Oklahoma and Texas and Arizona and New Mexico, that sort of area. But yeah, I mean, that's what's on the docket right now.
We'll be printing more merch.
We'll be printing more merch. Like definitely, I am a screen printer. That's what like my day job is screen printing. So merch is definitely something that we have.
I'll definitely.
So we'll be new stuff with the tour merchandise, stuff like that.
I'll definitely need a hand on one of those Sarin Reaper T-shirts you got, because I mean, I just gotta have it.
Yeah, I'll shout to you.
So for our final question, I've asked every single band, every single artist I've had on this show so far, what is the one thing you would tell the young and aspiring musicians who really need that motivation to get on stage and perform?
Do it. Start a band. It doesn't matter if you suck, because you'll figure it out at some point. Everybody has to go through a goober phase. You need to play music, and you need to do it because you like playing music, and you go into it, you write what you want, you have fun, you don't care what anybody says. Eventually you'll start getting shows, write some music, record something, get some tapes out. Duplicators are cheap as hell everywhere. Just do it. Nobody's stopping you but yourself.
Nice.
Just
Take Nike for instance.
And what I'll say is this: like, when you're young at that age, like, your biggest thing is like embarrassment and insecurity. Nah, dude, that will be the most fun you'll ever have, and you'll be fulfilled.
You'll remember it for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Yeah. It's something that's gonna stick with you for the rest of your life, and like, you should be proud of it. Especially if you're like putting something out there with people that you care about. It's great. It's fun. Well, like, it's something to do.
We all
need something to do.
I will continue on that point of just like embarrassment and stuff like that. Of what you'll remember for the rest of your life. You'll remember the good parts for the rest of your life, and all of those embarrassing parts, you're gonna forget about it. So when you have the bad gig that isn't exactly what you hoped it was, what likely is going to happen is the people there aren't necessarily going to remember it. They're just going to remember that they saw you. They're not going to necessarily remember that it wasn't exactly perfect. So, you'll remember the good parts of it.
That, and it's all rock and roll. So as long as you're on stage ripping it,
Yeah,
That,
Do it to have fun.
just to top it all off with that, yeah, exactly. Like, you could either be a depressed lump on the couch binge watching Community, much like myself, or
I did that for a while.
you can get up and realize that if you really want to scream your guts out in front of a bunch of art kids, then go for it.
You can just
Either that, or you can just not do it, and
You'll find
be
an
upset
audience.
with yourself.
You'll find an audience.
In the end, though, at this point in life, there's there's Bandcampers out there. You can post your stuff literally anywhere, and you will have people from all over the world checking your stuff out. It's like, as long I can't bash art as long as there's genuine emotional intent behind it. As long as you have that,
think it's art.
then it's good. So as long as you can market yourself to the right people, then you will find
It's not as simple as just saying it's easy or it's not that hard, but there are small steps that you can take that turn exponential very quickly, like surprisingly quickly. So it's more about just doing it and starting.
If you care, do it.
Other people will care. Yeah.
Other people will care. Like, starting a tape distro and having, like, again, weirdly enough, coming up on 4 years of that too. It's from my experience, if you just talk to people
with my zine and my tape that I had,
and you can totally relate with that too, Bob.
You just do it.
You just do it. Nobody's stopping you from anything but yourself. You just need to stop staring at your phone and playing Tetris or whatever, and just be like, hey, I want to express myself, and I want to do this, and people will pay attention, and people will start to care, and you will start to get way better at your craft, and things will perfect themselves at some point.
Yeah, like, add on to that, just give a fuck about it, and just fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it is worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta Gotta agree with that there. The best genre of music. Just gotta say, rock and roll. There's nothing better about it other than having fun.
Oh, baby. Rock and roll.
The best.
That's all we play. Yeah. Rock and roll music.
Yeah. That's what Lemmy did. I want to do that.
That's what everybody did. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, man. That's just how you do it. But anyways, unfortunately, that is the end of our interview, guys. Where can we find you on social media, and where can we listen to your music?
Well, I mean, it's basically wherever you think it would be. Yeah. It's on Spotify.
We got it on Spoofy. We got it on
Bandcamp. SarinReaper.bandcamp.com.
Instagram is Sarin Reaper.
At Sarin Reaper. Yeah. It's
just look up Sarin Reaper.
There's no underscores or anything in our name. Just Sarin Reaper. You'll find it.
Yeah.
Right.
No one else. Just Google it.
All of which will be in the description, so you listeners better watch out. So, thank you guys so much for being here with me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you later. And that will be the end of our episode of Music with Mason. Sarin Reaper. Awesome band. Amazing band. A bunch of dudes getting together, jamming out, having a blast, doing what they love. What's more to love about that? All right. Spring is right around the corner, you guys, and I want you guys to enjoy it. Go out to some concerts, go enjoy yourselves, and make sure that you get your hands on some of their awesome merchandise, because before you know it, it's gonna get sold out, and it also might be a limited time. But if you enjoyed this interview, please consider sharing this with your friends and family. Make sure you hit the subscription button, the big red button down there, and you'll be notified of every single upload I have to date. My name is Music with Mason. Thank you guys so much for sticking around.